London and US-listed Poolbeg Pharma, epic code POLB, is developing and commercializing innovative medicines targeting diseases with a high unmet medical need, like immunotherapy-induced CRS, infectious disease, and metabolic conditions such as obesity. The Poolbeg model focuses on partnering to maximize value from in-house programs and targeting near-term revenue generation from commercial stage rare and orphan products. I'm joined once again by Chief Executive Jeremy Skillington to tell us all. Hello, Jeremy. How are you today?
Very well, Alan. Very well. Very happy.
Good to see you again. So last year we spoke about, I think it was around August time, ahead of some pretty momentous developments for Poolbeg. In October, of course, you announced a strategic collaboration with NASDAQ-listed biopharma company to use Poolbeg's oral delivery technology. After this, you presented POLB 001, your flagship product, at some renowned conferences, expanded your IP, and of course, you appointed a number of key former Amrit Pharma executives, with David Almond, John McAvoy, and Laura Maher all joining the company. What sort of impact have this team made since joining, Jeremy?
Oh, it's been terrific. It's been phenomenal. I think the old expression, they've hit the ground running. I think they're coming with the same mindset. We've always kind of said that, with Poolbeg, we started back in 2021. We've had terrific progress since then, terrific momentum. The programs have done really well from a clinical trial standpoint and expanding, as you say, into the cytokine release syndrome, we can touch upon later on. But Laura, John, and David are extremely knowledgeable in the industry, so they just basically bring that over to Poolbeg. They've been through this before with the Amrit story, which, again, for context, this is a company co-founded by our chairman, Cathal Friel, back in 2016, similar to Poolbeg, listed on the London AIM market, brought in-house some programs and products, identified by Dave Almond, who's now with us, and basically built the company, listed it on NASDAQ, and they were acquired last year by Chiesi Pharmaceutica, an Italian pharmaceutical company, for $1.48 billion. So from essentially a standing start in 2016 to be acquired that rapidly. So, in our discussions, we have a very good foundation, we believe, at Poolbeg for the programs that we have. And, so the thinking now is let's take that same route, that same trajectory as Amrit, and build out the company. So we have terrific momentum. And again, with the three colleagues, John, Laura, and David on board, we're moving rapidly in that direction.
And of course, you mentioned Cathal Friel. Cathal Friel has now stepped up to join the team at Poolbeg as executive chairman too.
Yeah, Cathal, he's like a terrific guy to have in the room, and he had activities, say with hVivo, or sister company, if you want to call that we spun out of, and now I think they've done terrifically well with the CEO Mo Khan kind of driving that clinical trials company strategy, and now Cathal is like, great, that's in really kind of in good shape. Let's pivot over to Poolbeg again, as I say, with his knowledge of Amrit and the building of Amrit. It's an additional colleague on board to, as I say, great to have Cathal around the table.
Excellent. Well, your primary POLB 001 asset has also made great progress since we last spoke. New data, of course, highlighting its potential in both preventing and treating cancer immunotherapy-induced CRS, that's cytokine release syndrome. You recently published research that indicated a potential $10 billion plus market for POLB 001, your flagship asset in CRS. What steps will Poolbeg take in order to take full advantage of this opportunity?
Yeah, listen, we're very excited about the direction that we're taking with POLB 001. It was identified, the cancer treatment, cancer therapies have evolved, over the last few decades. If you rewind the clock back to just blunt chemotherapeutics, and then you had selective small molecule inhibitors to stop tumor growth, and antibodies. And now we're progressing into this next generation of immunotherapeutics. So basically, you're getting your own immune system to go after your tumor. So you're kind of being, as I say, taking advantage of your powerful immune system to eradicate tumors. And they've seen some fantastic data with CAR T cell therapies, particularly in the myeloma blood cancer space. as well as bispecific antibodies. Again, fascinating science where the bispecifics, they bring a tumor cell in close proximity to an immune cell called a T cell, and then the T cell goes to town, to remove the tumor. But what you have as a side effect of that is the cytokine release syndrome, where the immune system is triggered, is overactivated, and you have some severe side effects. So as I say, the immuno-oncology drugs work terrifically well, but they have this side effect that actually creates a lot of distress for the patient, obviously, but also a lot of headaches for the pharma company whose drugs are in the patient, but also the healthcare system who have to look after these patients who are developing the CRS. So we've have a strategy where we'll be able to both prevent CRS. So we feel that the advantage we have is that it's a small molecule, it's orally delivered. The patients can take these themselves, at home. Come into the hospital, get the immunotherapeutic. So as I say, it's kind of keeping that immune system kind of in balance. And then you can send them home afterwards with 001 again to control CRS if it occurs. So that takes a lot of pressure off the healthcare system, where for now, once they get immunotherapeutics, they have to stay in the hospital, they have to stay close to the hospital in case they develop CRS. And it does occur on average in 70% of patients who receive these immunotherapies. So it's a known side effect, it's a known issue. But as I say, in oncology and cancer especially, it's the balance of the benefits versus the risk, and the risk being CRS. So we believe with Poolbeg, we can remove or reduce that risk of cytokine release syndrome and allow the immunotherapeutics do what they were built to do, and that is eradicate tumors. So it's a fantastic balance for the company. As I say, we have a molecule, we have a clinical data that kind of convinces ourselves and pharma companies we speak to that this is a road to take. And Dave Almond, who did drive the strategy, the market analysis, for the immuno-oncologies, he presented, or he was discussing with farmers at the ASH conference. This is the American Society of Hematology conference in San Diego back in December, where there's 25,000 hematologists show up to learn about their science that's going on, about patient results and responses, and had some terrific discussions with pharma about this kind of ability to reduce or remove CRS. So a lot of excitement in that space. So as I say, it's been a terrific last few months building that momentum to where we are right now.
Super. But of course, aside from that, Poolbeg as a company has numerous other assets, collaborations and consortiums with some non-dilutive funding also secured. Are you continuing to seek other opportunities for such funding?
Yeah. We, when Poolbeg was started with, so we listed in 2021, we came out with a capital light model. So we're very focused on, how we spend our money and what we spend it on. And we're very diligent in that way. So the goal was to run these early clinical trials and then partner with pharma companies. So we're at this stage now, revenue generation through partnering is always a stated objective. Yes, non-dilutive funding is always an option, and it certainly was kind of so towards the tail end of the pandemic when infectious diseases were to fore. But I think more recently now, this kind of moves to the parallel tracking, the parallel strategy of, again, similar to Amrit, bringing in or in licensing, acquiring programs that are revenue generating, and then that will fund the company going forward. So we have many strings to our funding financing bow. As I say, we're in a very healthy cash position right now, so we're not so we're again true management of the spend. So again, supplementing that as well is always the goal. But we have a nice long runway for us to move the programs forward, again with partners in the ideal scenario.
Excellent. And of course, you're also progressing an oral GLP-1 agonist. Can you bring us up to speed on this?
Yeah, very excited about that collaboration. So the GLP-1s, and in a previous life, I worked in that space where GLP-1s are used regularly for diabetes. And then, and these are kind of daily injectables. And then people notice their benefits or potential benefits for diseases like obesity. And what they've seen in the last year or two is the readouts from clinical trials where you see obese patients, their weight being reduced by up to 20%. So fantastic, and the health benefits of that, comes side by side. So they've seen benefits with heart disease and renal disease. So from that standpoint, there's a lot of excitement in this GLP-1 agonist space. But as I say, the issue, if you want to call it that, is that they're primarily injectables. So they're moving this. If you can move this to an oral therapy, obviously you open up the market, build up the market, and So we've got a clinical trial designed and planned and talking to the regulators, and we'll be executing that later this year. And that's essentially orally encapsulated GLP-1. So we want to get, taken orally, survives the stomach acids and enzyme, gets into the small intestine, and then the drug, the GLP-1 agonist, is released intact, and then it has its effector function. So again, these are short clinical trials, again, with the Poolbeg model. These are short, punchy clinical trials where you get data quite rapidly. Have that data in hand to, obviously, hopefully positive data in hand to take to pharma partners, who then are very excited about, as I say, this switch to oral delivery. Because again, that opens up markets, it opens up distribution. It's a fantastic area. So we're, as I say, terrific technology, and delighted to be in this space because it's such an exciting area right now, because the clinical trials are showing such efficacy.
Excellent. And of course, last time we spoke, we discussed the AI collaboration with Cytoreason. What are the latest developments there, Jeremy?
Yeah, so we got terrific readouts there. And again, taking a step back, when we spun out of hVivo, we got access to some very unique human challenge data. And the data was so impressive, but such a large data set. It would take years for scientists to trawl through. So we collaborated with One Tree Biotech in New York around RSV, and Cytoreason around influenza, who took the huge data set and basically kind of put it into their engines, their AI engines, and identifying new drug targets that you could go after for the infectious diseases. The Cytoreason came up with some very interesting and heretofore targets that had no association with infectious diseases. So now we're kind of progressing those forward in the validation, validation phase. So very excited where that came out. And again, talking to pharma companies, they're all into novelty. They don't want the me toos, as it were. So these are nice new novel targets. So again, fascinating collaboration, great readouts, and I said very excited to see where that takes us next, to say new drug targets and ultimately new drugs for infectious diseases.
Excellent. Well, Jeremy, just retracing steps a bit now. You joined Poolbeg, of course, after building up Inflazome Biotech and selling to Roche Pharmaceuticals for $450 million. Now, we've heard about the latest developments at Poolbeg today, and of course, the new dream team from Amrit and Carl stepping back up. I think we've already touched on this, but as an organization, are you seeking to replicate the Amrit or Inflazome models?
Oh, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, yes, we had a terrific run with Inflazome. It was, again, interestingly, in the immunology inflammation space, similar to where POLB 001 is. Poolbeg, we had that single asset, but it had multiple applications. And again, we're trying to replicate that with POLB 001. As I say, we started with severe influenza, and now we're looking at CRS and potentially other areas. So there is that potential that we've always said that it was like the pearl necklace, where we have individual programs, and each individual program could be partnered separately to pharma. But there is, as I say, so now we're looking to kind of scale the company. But I used to like the expression years ago where, that I heard years ago, was that, companies aren't necessarily sold, they're actually bought. So you progress as a company, you build it out, and eventually somebody will swoop in and buy it. So, you don't put yourself in the shop window, until you're ready, but people tend to come to you when you've done some excellent work. So we're kind of, again, maybe you could call it kind of a parallel strategy. We're building the company, modeling on Amrit, but you could get that potential, Inflazome-like exit where, pharma company likes what we're doing and they like to fill their pipelines. We know there's, patent cliff issues, so they look for quality programs and, to bring into their pipelines. So we have regular, frequent conversations with our pharma colleagues about the progress that we're making, etc. So, as I say, but we're very much focused, and we have been for the last, as I say, we're coming up to almost 3 years now, but very much focused on executing on the plan and the strategy and move the programs forward. And as I say, the discussions with pharma, we know, someday they'll love what we're doing, and they'll want to partner directly, and again, excited for that to happen as well.
Excellent. Well, Jeremy, of course, the new dream team comes with a reputation for financial prudence and careful husbanding of resources. I think we've already touched on this too, but are you continuing to be cash conscious as you go forward?
Yeah, very much so. We do. It's been interesting the last, year, 2 years really, where there's been, macroeconomic, there's been kind of, global wars, inflation, interest rates, so it's been choppy waters, I think, for the industry, but we've kind of kept our head down, kept ourselves focused. There is talk of this kind of light at the end of the tunnel, but as I said, we're very disciplined financially. We have a nice long runway, but again, supplementing with partnering revenue is the ultimate goal. And, but as I said, we have a fantastic team kind of to drive that forward. And again, we're very, very disciplined and very focused.
Excellent. Well, Poolbeg's success, of course, has attracted the attention of the financial press. You've appeared in numerous articles across such articles, such titles as the Times and the Telegraph. And of course, Carl and both yourself have purchased shares in the company. What else can Poolbeg investors look forward to this year?
Yeah, as I say, we have, Cathal and I have great confidence in Poolbeg, in the strategy. We have belief in the business model. Year, I mean, last year was terrific with all the milestones we hit, and as I say, expanding the management team. And this year looks like it's going to be another exciting year for Poolbeg as well. So maintaining the momentum that we have is great, but and again, of course, updating the markets on the progress we're making and the milestones we're hitting. So 2024, we're relative. I was at a meeting yesterday where people were still saying Happy New Year. You hadn't seen them yet, but we're already kind of hitting the end of February. But we've got 10 good months, of 2024 to again, drive the strategy and as I say, push the milestones forward and update the markets on everything we've achieved.
Well, exciting times indeed for Poolbeg and its shareholders in 2024. Jeremy Skillington, Chief Executive of Poolbeg Pharma, many thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for your time, Alan. Appreciate it.